It's time for Fresh Oil with singer-songwriter and pastor Keith Manley. A program designed to minister the gospel of God's grace and to bring fresh oil to the brokenhearted. And now, with today's program, Pastor Keith Manley.
Hello, neighbor. Welcome to Fresh Oil. I'm Keith Manley, your host, and this week on Fresh Oil, we're diving into the subject of faith. What a great subject. And today our text comes from the book of James. James is often called the Proverbs of the New Testament because it's real practical, it's straightforward, and it's rooted in the day-to-day realities of life. James challenges us in a very powerful way in his letter, urging us to put our faith into action. So let's dive in today. James chapter 2, he says, "What good is it, my brothers, if someone says he has faith, but he does not have works? Can that faith save him? If a brother or sister is poorly clothed and lacking in daily food, and one of you says to him, 'Go in peace and be warmed and filled,' without giving them the things needed for the body, what good is that? So also, faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. But someone will say, 'You have faith and I have works.' Show me your faith apart from works, and I will show you my faith by my works. You believe that God is one? You do well. Even the demons believe and shudder. Do you want to be shown, you foolish person, that faith apart from works is useless? Was not Abraham, our father, justified by works when he offered up his son Isaac on the altar? You see that faith was active along with his works, and faith was completed by his works. And the scripture was fulfilled that says, Abraham believed God, and it was counted to him as righteousness, and he was called a friend of God." James opened this passage with a stark question: what good is it if someone says he has faith but does not have works? And then he closed by saying, faith without works is dead. See, this is an important question for us to reflect on. What good is it if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Imagine you're in a classroom and the teacher asks a student to demonstrate how to solve a math problem. And the student raises his hand confidently and says, "I know how to solve the problem." But then the teacher asks the student to actually show the steps, and they sit there frozen, unable to take any action. That's what James is describing here. It's one thing to say you have faith, but it's yet another to actually live it out. See, faith without works is like a person who said they know how to solve the problem, but they can never take the steps to show it. James goes on and he provides an example. He says if someone is in need and they're lacking food or clothing, and we just simply say, "Go in peace, be warmed and filled," but we do nothing to help them, what good is that? That kind of faith is useless. Just like the person who professes to care but doesn't do anything about it. Think about it, friend. How many times have we seen a need and prayed for someone or told them we would help, but we never followed through? James is challenging us to go beyond words. See, true faith, it's active. It's visible in how we care for the physical, emotional, and spiritual needs of those who are around us. Faith and works are not opposite. They go together. We're not saved by works. We're saved by grace through faith. But works come as a result of our faith. See, James doesn't just say faith without works is useless. He takes it a step further by stating that faith and works are inseparable. They're not opposites. They complement each other. He says, "Show me your faith apart from your works. I will show you faith by my works." Think about a tree and its fruit. If you have an apple tree, you expect to see apples grow on it. And the presence of fruit is the evidence of the tree's life. And it's similar, the works in our lives are evidence of the faith that we claim to have. Christians should be different than the rest of the world. If we say we have faith, but our lives don't reflect the love of Christ, then we have to examine whether our faith is really alive? James gives us a sobering example in verse 19. He said, you believe that God is one, and that's a prayer the Jews pray every day. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. The Lord is one. So they pray that every day, called the Shema Israel. And it says here, even the demons believe and shudder. So he's saying here, go beyond your religion and care for people. This is powerful. He's saying it's not enough to simply believe in God. Demons believe in God. They know he exists. They just don't obey him. And they shudder because they know the reality of his power. So we need to ask ourselves, do we believe in God simply as an intellectual fact? Or do we live in submission to him because we have faith in him? Are we actively obeying his word? Or are we merely acknowledging his existence? See, true faith, my friend, it's much more than intellectual assent. It's a living, dynamic force that compels us to act. James used two powerful examples of biblical figures. He spoke about Abraham and he spoke about Rahab. Abraham's faith. James points to Father Abraham as the father of our faith, and he says that Abraham was justified by works when he offered up his son Isaac. See, this act of obedience was the culmination of a life of faith. Abraham's faith was tested, and it was through his willingness to act on God's command that his faith was proven to be genuine. Let's picture this. Abraham, after years of waiting, finally has a son. Isaac is the delight of his life. He's the child of promise. And now God asks Abraham to sacrifice that child. Take him on an altar and sacrifice him. I can't imagine it. Abraham's faith wasn't just about believing that God could provide. It was also about trusting that God would be faithful even in the most difficult circumstances. It's like a soldier being asked to go into battle. He doesn't just believe in his commander's ability to win, but he steps onto the battlefield trusting that the commander knows what is best. And then we had Rahab, he mentioned in verse 25. Rahab's faith is also highlighted in this passage. Rahab was a prostitute, and she demonstrated her faith by hiding the Israelite spies and helping them escape. Her faith was seen in her actions. It could have cost her her life. She took a risk to protect the men of God. Think about Rahab's position. She wasn't a person of high social standing. She had every reason to live for herself and to look out for her own interests. But when she heard of the God of Israel, her faith led her to take a risk that ultimately saved her life and her family. Rahab's actions proved that faith isn't about your past. It's about your present response to God's call. She didn't just say, I believe in your God. She acted upon that belief, and God honored her faith. Then James closes this section with a sobering statement. For as the body apart from the spirit is dead, so also faith apart from works is dead. That's James 2 and verse 26. Can you imagine a person who's physically alive but spiritually dead? They may look like they're living, they're breathing, they're walking, they're talking, but if their spirit is gone, they're dead. In the same way, a faith without works may appear alive, but it is dead because it's not producing any fruit that shows the evidence of life. James is saying that if our faith doesn't result in action, it's not real faith. It's a lifeless belief, just like a body without breath. Friend, I encourage you today to reflect on your own faith today. Is it active? Is it producing works that honor God? Or is it a faith that remains dormant, a belief that's never acted upon? See, it's really easy to be religious and go to church for all the wrong reasons. We do it out of duty, or we do it because grandma did it. God wants the worship from your heart. Is your faith producing works that honor God, or is it a faith that remains dormant, a belief that's never acted upon? God's calling us today into a living faith, a vibrant faith that transforms us and moves us to action. Today, as we reflect upon James chapter 2, I'm reminded that faith is not just a profession. You don't just profess that faith. It's a practice. It becomes a part of our daily life. And true faith shows up in how we love others, how we respond to God's commands, and how we live out the gospel in our everyday life. Faith without works is like a tree without fruit. It's dead. Does your faith move you to action? Do you see the needs around you and you step in to meet them? Or does your faith cause you to love the unlovable, to forgive the unforgivable, and to serve even when it's not convenient? A missionary once told a story about a small village where people were dying from disease. The villagers were praying for God to heal them, but no one was taking action to help. And when the missionary arrived, he immediately began providing medical aid, distributing supplies, and teaching the people how to care for themselves. He said, God may not send an angel to help you. Sometimes he sends people like me who takes action to answer your prayers. My friend, in the same way, God may be calling you today to put your faith into action, to step out on the water. Don't wait for a miracle. Be the miracle someone else is waiting for. Friend, imagine you're sitting in a room and you have a lamp that you know works perfectly fine. The lamp is plugged in and you know it's connected to a power source. The light bulb is in the lamp and it's capable of shining brightly once power is delivered to it. However, the lamp won't turn on unless it's actually plugged into the socket and turned on. Now let's break this down. Intellectual belief, you know the lamp works and that electricity is available. You can tell others, yes, this lamp is good, it's connected to a power source, and when it's turned on, it'll shine. You believe the power is there, but until you actually plug the lamp in and flip the switch, the lamp stays dark. You see, real faith in God is like plugging in the lamp, and then you turn it on. You know the power is there, and now you're acting on the knowledge by connecting the lamp to the source of power. Only then does the lamp fulfill its purpose and shine brightly. See, James chapter 2 today teaches us that faith without works is dead. It's like having a lamp that's connected to a power source, but it's never turned on. Belief in God and His power is essential. But friend, faith is acting on that belief and allowing the power to flow that will transform your life. It's been a great day on Fresh Oil as we talk today from the book of James, chapter 2, on the subject of faith.
Fresh Oil is pleased to announce the release of Keith's book entitled The Grace Revolution, available now on Amazon in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle ebook edition. In his book, The Grace Revolution, Pastor Keith Manley shares the gospel of God's grace, giving us a radical shift from performance-based religion to the life-changing power of God's amazing grace. Pastor Keith also released a study guide, helping the reader to explore the grace of God and how life-changing it can be for the reader. To get your copy today, go to Amazon.com and search Keith Manley, The Grace Revolution.
Thanks for joining us today for Fresh Oil with Pastor Keith Manley. Fresh Oil is an outreach of Grace Family Church in Rockford, Illinois, and can be heard each weekday at this same time. You can reach us online at weneedgod.com. Until next time, remember, God's love for you is unconditional, and He makes His mercies new every morning.